So chapter 126 of One Punch Man has come out, and the cover here is of Fubuki, who is actually not in the chapter, unfortunately, and Tatsumaki, who is mentioned, but she's not in the chapter either. Awesome picture of Fubuki, which made me think that she would be here, but she's not, of course. But interestingly, the chapter does carry on Saitama and Flashy Flash's plot, just like the last chapter carried on her plot with Silver Fang and the overgrown rover, which I've noticed a lot of these chapters tend to kind of leave stuff off at a cliffhanger and then jump to another hero, i.e. Darkshine and Garo. So I wonder if we are ever gonna actually get that. But really wacky adventures here with some a very interesting cliffhanger at the end. So Flashy Flash and Saitama are going into this really cool looking area. It's just a mine, and the Monster Association is mining gold and ruby, and this is really, I mean, I thought this was interesting, but a lot of this almost felt like a filler episode of an anime or something like that, you know, because it's just like a wacky adventure that doesn't do much for the story, but it does do a little bit. It even helps to flesh out the Monster Association in showing that how they get their funds. They just have these little insects monsters mining gold and ruby for them. So very like who would have thought to do something like this? Like a normal writer would be like, oh, we have like a monster guy who can transform and he gets a job, or they just wouldn't bother to explain it at all. But here we got these little insects with their little freaking hard hats and lights, and it's just like a full-on mine with all the resources and everything, and even these security guards, these giant praying mantises, which they spot Flashy Flash and Saitama, and so now the adventures begin with them getting attacked by these giant insects. It is so awesome. Freaking Flashy Flash and Saitama jumping up. This shot, oh my god, like the sense of intense speed from both of these guys. And then they just explode this insect into pieces. And awesome attention to detail here. On the left here, you see the fine cuts and meticulous cutting of Flashy Flash, and then on the left you see Saitama's completely sloppy approach to fighting, in that he just goes in and just obliterates. So now before this, Flashy Flash thinks that he's with such an amateur, and he's like, let me take the lead, like, you don't know what you're doing. But now you see in this panel Flashy Flash's reaction to what Saitama just did, and Saitama's like, hey, not bad, man, you're pretty fast. Flashy Flash is like, oh, kinda, huh? So I really liked that exchange, and it's kind of just tiptoeing into the realm of Saitama just becoming more and more known to the other heroes as being like a super strong dude. But we don't linger on that too much. As we saw a couple panels earlier than this, Saitama was really worried about, or he was getting hung up on the monster that they're with having his cape, and he's like, hey, give my cape back. And finally, after obliterating this giant mantis, he gets it back, but right when he gets it back, a praying mantis freaking pierces a hole in it, and it makes him fall out of the cart. And then you see from Flashy Flash's perspective, like a first-person view, this is a pretty interesting shot, all of the mantises just going in and just pounding down on him. So here I was thinking, okay, Flashy Flash is gonna like have a reaction to Saitama dying, because since he thinks that he's like an amateur fighter and everything, naturally he would think that this, like, he would not be able to survive this. But I guess he doesn't really have time for that, because they reach the end of the track, and of course the monster that they're with starts freaking out. But Flashy Flash, you know, he is a professional. He is an S-class professional. Instead of freaking out, he decides to just immediately attack the monsters that are following them. But and he does so fluidly and effortlessly. But right after that, the guts and freaking appendages and all these monster guts just come flooding out and exploding out of the entrance or the exit of the tunnel, with Saitama just running along the tracks with the golden rubies. This was so freaking funny, guys. Because earlier he had like expressed interest and he's like, oh, funds, huh? And I'm thinking, what, are you gonna buy more like seaweed and freaking green onions or what? So man, like this shot is like so grotesque and so violent. But then you have this little spot of Saitama running like a little cartoon character, like really interesting juxtaposition with those two tones, I guess you could say. And of course we got this shot of him. He's carrying the bag with his freaking teeth, man. Oh man, that part. That was such a good part, man. So they jump away, but as they jump away, he drops the bags, and the mortified look on his face, it's just like one freaking hilarious thing after another. He is so mortified that he dropped all of those riches. So they just get on their merry way back to normal, like nothing had happened. And that's kind of why I kind of felt like this was kind of a filler episode, sort of, but very, very fun adventure. So they go on their merry way, and Saitama's just depressed about his lost riches. But then we finally get back to Giro Giro, and if we remember correctly, Tatsumaki just like blasted her with like a giant mental shockwave of some sort, if I remember correctly. And so she is kind of freaking out a little bit, getting a little stressed, thinking, oh man, so I can't reach Overgrown Rover. Like, who is this baldy guy? Apparently, that mine shaft, that mine cart, is getting close to the central location of her hideout. So I thought that was very interesting. And then, of course, Tatsumaki is also has her on the ropes too. So she's kind of between a rock and a hard place, so to speak. So what does she decide to do? She reaches out for this vial, which apparently, it's one of those things like, this is my super power-up serum. And then she takes it, and then this last shot of her, this is the cliffhanger. It's like, oh man, okay, Lord Psychos is her name now, and she is a dragon level. And this, like, you see the freaking veins in her forehead, and this little like lightning stuff coming out of her eye. But this shot is awesome. Like, she's a badass. I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing what she does, and I really hope that this cliffhanger doesn't last like 20 chapters and we won't see it for another year or whatever. I really hope that the next chapter is Garo versus Darkshine, because I've been waiting for that. And so either I hope that I hope the next chapter is that and this as like a B story, or maybe this as the A story and then Garo versus Darkshine as the B story. But whatever. That's my thoughts on the chapter. Whatever you guys think, drop your thought waves down in the comments below. Thanks a lot for watching. I have a lot of fun talking about this, and take it easy.